Hello, Carole. Welcome to the show. You've got a writer who I really admire, Rachel Joyce.
Yes, she wrote The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry.
Yes,
which
excellent
was just
book.
fantastic. Everybody loved it. It was totally charming. And this is her new novel, and it's simply called Perfect. And it has that same charm. She's managed to do it again. So often with a second novel, you think, oh, it can't possibly be as good as the first. It is.
Yeah. And it's a swift follow-up too, isn't it?
It is.
It's only a couple of years later or something.
Come quite soon afterwards, yes. It's about two boys, English schoolboys, and James and Byron. And they're both very clever, academically able boys. But you just know that there are things happening in their childhoods at home, in their home life, that are difficult. And it's never spelled out really, but there's just little hints at things they say to each other and the ways they behave at school and so on. And you realise that things are slightly difficult. And Byron in particular feels very responsible for his mother. He has quite a severe father who is absent really. He's working up in town and only comes home at the weekends. He was working in the city, only comes home in the weekends. And but phones up all the time. He's obviously a control freak because he phones up all the time, morning and evening, and you know, what has Byron done today, and is everything all right, has anybody come to visit, and what are you having for dinner, and the mother has to be very compliant and answer correctly, and you know that Byron is very concerned for her. And what Rachel Joyce manages to do is just build up very slowly this sense of anticipation and it's fear almost really, that you as a reader think something's going to happen, something's going to happen, something's going to happen, and it does find. So she builds up a tension very subtly.
It's such a hard trick to pull off.
But she does it
and
so
keep the
well.
reader engaged.
Yeah, totally engaged. And you're just reading about two schoolboys really, and something dreadful does happen. And then the chapters about the boys are interspersed with chapters about a very lost, sad, older man who really has been in and out of mental institutions, who now has a job in a cafe, and who is supported by the workers and the owner of the cafe, but who is really a very sensitive but very lost soul, a damaged person, and you just wonder quite who he is and where he fits into the whole picture, and he does fit in, and I'm not going to tell you how, but there's a surprise in it. He's not who you think he is or who you suspect he might be. So there's two things happening, the children and this lost older man, very sensitively done.
Sounds a bit like a book about imperfection, so it's interesting that it should be called Perfect, but that's part of the secret.
Well, I think that the father is expecting the mother and Byron to be, and Byron's sister, to be perfect. They must be perfect. Everything must be perfect.
What a terrible weight to place upon anybody.
Yes, but it's charming. It's got that lovely, light-hearted sense that the first one had, The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry, that charm, but underneath there's layers and layers and layers and layers of what's really going on here.
So anyone who enjoyed her first book, you'd be recommending this one?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Carole.